everybody. I'm your host, Brian Watkins, and welcome to another edition of the Brian Watkins channel. My subject today is about what I admire most about Joe Jackson, the father of the superstar family, the Jacksons, formerly known as the Jackson 5. The reason why I'm making this video is for those of you who feel the same way I do about Joe Jackson. Let's get started. Shout outs to everybody that's been supporting my channel. I appreciate all that you have done. Always remember, without you, I'm nothing. And I thank you for supporting my channel. Let's get started. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of people don't like Joe Jackson. Sure, LaToya said that she experienced a lot of things from Joe Jackson. The late Michael Jackson, may he rest in peace, said a lot of stuff about his father. And many of the rest of the children said some things about their father that wasn't too cool. But let's eliminate all that for a moment. And let's stick to the facts. When it comes to entertainment, hands down, Joe Jackson created the Jackson, formerly known as the Jackson 5 in Gary, Indiana. He worked at a plant. He had a plan. And he stuck to it, and look what happened. It happened. The Jackson 5 became the Jacksons. And who came out of it? The late Michael Jackson. May he rest in peace. Janet Jackson. Jermaine Jackson. Tito Jackson. Randy Jackson. Marlo Jackson. Rebe Jackson. LaToya Jackson. All of these wonderful people got a strong taste of stardom because of Joe Jackson. Now, don't get me wrong. That was, kind of shady what he did when Michael Jackson died and him and his partner was promoting their new record label. Was it cool? No. But Joe Jackson was the one that put forth the discipline. Maybe a few little whippings and smacking around when, they didn't hit that dance step right or didn't hold that note the way he told them. Or to come in and practice as soon as they got in from school. And then they do their homework. But you gotta remember, if it wasn't for Joe Jackson, wouldn't have been no I Never Can Say Goodbye. If it wasn't for Joe Jackson, it wouldn't have been no Billie Jean. If it wasn't for Joe Jackson, it wouldn't have been no Control or Funny How Time Flies. If it wasn't for Joe Jackson, it wouldn't have been that song that Jermaine made on Motown label, Let's Get Serious, produced by Stevie Wonder. Now, don't get me wrong. I felt bad for the Jacksons and the scary things I heard about Joe Jackson. But that's still the man that brought us the Jackson, formerly known as the Jackson 5, and all of that talent that we still enjoy today, and partially more, greatly more, because Michael Jackson is no longer with us. Now, he might have smacked Michael Jackson around sometime when he shouldn't have. But let's go back to Motown 25, yesterday, today, and forever, when Michael Jackson first performed the moonwalk and performed his hit off the Thriller album, Billie Jean. Who all that went back to? Joe Jackson. And the thing is, Joe Jackson never went to school of any type in the academic industry or institution. to master these techniques to just spit out superstars after superstars with a little smack, a little whipping, you know. But gotta give credit where credit is due. If it wasn't for Joe Jackson, wouldn't have been no Rhythm Nation. There wouldn't have been no Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis producing Janet Jackson's hits. No, would it? Nope. Wouldn't have been no good times when Janet Jackson was playing Penny with Rolona. All that came from Joe Jackson with his firm belt. Tell him to lay across the bed and get it right. Now, he might have been a little rough when he shouldn't have been. But how many of y'all love Janet Jackson? I do. How many of y'all love LaToya Jackson? I do. How many of y'all love Reby Jackson, who only made one song called Centipede under the Columbia label back in 1984? I do. How many of y'all enjoy that song that Jermaine Jackson made called Tickle Your Fancy? Or what other songs he made? Don't Take It Personal. Take the bitter with the sweet. Or the song that he made with the late Michael Jackson, his sibling. Tell me, am I dreaming? We can go on and on and on. And all that came from Joe Jackson with the belt. You know, I had a little Mr. T in him, you know. But it paid off. Now, I'm not saying the stuff that LaToya wrote in her tell-all book, and I read it. That was some freaky stuff. I ain't singing about that part. That part wasn't cool. You know, I hope it didn't happen. You know, I hope that she was lying to sell more books. You know, but Joe Jackson, you know, and it's sad because nobody likes Joe Jackson. You know, don't get me wrong. I've been, you know, torn around to make a video about him for a long time. But I had to admit, you know, if it wasn't for Joe Jackson working at the plant in Gary, Indiana, and putting his foot down and taking the kids to Detroit to meet Barry Gordon of Motown label and them getting signed and coming out with all those songs that we grew up to, Dancing Machine and ABC and, well, y'all know all the songs that came from Motown with the Jackson 5. All that came from Joe Jackson. Now, always subtracting, you know, that he was a little violent, even on Living Color, you know, and was quick to, you know, take the belt off and tear up some butt, you know. But I gotta admit, you know, ladies and gentlemen, you know, when you look at Michael Jackson, you can't help be spellbound. He was one of the greatest entertainers of the world, and all that came from Joe Jackson. That violent, disciplined, kind of pimpish disciplinary. And we still feel his absence today. Michael Jackson, the late Michael Jackson. And Jermaine Jackson, Tito, he played that guitar. And let's see, Randy joined the group after Jermaine had left. And, you know, things are kind of, you know, he played a semi-major role in the Jacksons' 5 success all the way up to the Jacksons. But again, ladies and gentlemen, it's what I admire most about Joe Jackson. We got to admit, he took them from Gary, Indiana, to Motown Records, to Epic Records. And Epic Records was one of the record labels that recorded the album Thriller that outsold every entertainer. All that came from Joe Jackson. So viewers, excuse me, if you want me to do a special request, I'll do so. Hit that subscribe button. And I wasn't trying to be funny about Joe Jackson. I was just being honest, you know. He was quick with the belt and quick with the hand, you know. Kind of pimpish a little bit. But, you know, it worked. I'm not saying, you know, the stuff I read in LaToya's tell-all book. If y'all ain't read it, you probably want to read it. I was stunned. And I admit he was a little real pissed when she came out with the book. So I hope that what she said about him in the book wasn't true. But he was pissed. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for always tuning in and continue to tune in and subscribe to my channel. Because you know I'm going to cover a whole variety of different subjects. I just don't do one particular subject because the Brian Watkins channel is a variety channel. It talks about a lot of different subjects. Entertainment, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Or, You see all the videos I have. I cover a lot of things. So any requests, by all means, put it in the comment box, and I'll get to it as soon as I can. In the meantime, for you new viewers, hit that subscribe button. For 2 reasons: I make videos constantly, and you get a chance to win some cash. So hit it, and don't you go anywhere.